That moment when you start your recording and then forget words. Okay, 1 Bravo. Gonna identify basic facts about the controls and indicators of the HF transceiver. Measurements a minimum 73% of the block test. That means you guys need to get at least a 12 out of the 15 correct. I think somebody in your class earlier tried to fish for test questions. If y'all saw that conversation, I answered his question by saying that on the block test you will have 1 hour to complete the exam and need to score a minimum of 73%. It will encompass questions from all sections of the study guide workbook to include circuits and diagrams. I will not give away specifics about the exam, but if you study, you should have nothing to worry about. In addition, you will have 3 technical orders: the 1 AMPRC 150 commercial manual, the AMPRC 150 intermediate maintenance manual, the CSM Aeroflex 2947 alpha manual, that's from the Navy, and your circuits and diagrams, which we'll review tomorrow. So I'm going to answer that same question for you all that I did for him. Is that blue or blue to black or blue to... Oh, are we talking about the Space Force thing? Is that what the question is there? Okay. I don't know. Can't even answer that question. Good question, though. So we'll start off with controls and indicators. That's what we talk about in here. You guys should be fairly familiar with what you're seeing right now because you got to do the lab this morning. Verbal responses are welcome, by the way. Yes, Sir McCusker, we totally did the lab this morning and we saw everything. Oh, cool. Good job,
Yes,
class.
we got to touch all the buttons.
There we go. Thank you. Cool. I'm like, I could start filling in voices for y'all. That's fine. Okay. I know some of you don't have mics, but others do. That's fine. So number 1, that's the J2 GPS connector here. It's the interface connector for J2. It provides a serial connection for data and control for an external global positioning system. That is either the Plugger, Precision Lightweight GPS Receiver, or Dagger, Defense Advanced GPS Receiver. Yes, that is acronymception right there. That's an acronym within an acronym. So we've got Defense Advanced Global Positioning System Receiver, in case anybody was wondering. J1, that's the audio connector. That's number 2 here. Did anybody have some trouble connecting this today?
No, sir.
Awesome. No one had any trouble? Really? That's hard to believe.
No, because it's got an indicator.
None of them saw gas on. Nobody had to lick it or breathe on it or put some earwax in it?
They had already finished that step by the time I made it.
Okay. Makes sense to me now. So this provides a connection for an audio handset, which uses a 6-pin connector, which you all got to play with this morning. Next is your LCD display. That's number 3 here. Your LCD is part of the KDU, displays the operational and programming displays, as well as the system presets and the channel presets. You all probably saw that this morning. Did anybody push that 0 button while they were programming? Or after they had programmed and went out to the main menu? Anybody want to tell me what happens when you do that? Yeah, to switch from channel preset to system preset. That is exactly what it does, Amarada. Very good. So next we have the J18. That's the fill port. It's used to connect to a Type 1 encryption fill device such as the ANCYZ10, the DS101, or the COI18. That's an old paper tape device that I actually used back in when I came through school here. We had to take paper that was punched with holes in it and slide it through the device and then click the fill button. But if you didn't click the fill button before you slid the paper through, you had to do it again because it didn't actually load it into whatever function knob you had it on. The numbers are like 1 through 12, I want to say. It was able to hold like 12 pieces of encryption. And then, in addition to that, once that was done, we had to take it and hook it up to the front of the radio, to the J18, put it in load mode, and then actually load the encryption. Now you guys have this DS101 and this DS102 device on here that Kick 13, that's a Windows-based device, and you can go in there and actually load it. And you also have something called an SKL, which is not listed on here, and that's a simple key loader. You will learn more about that in Block 7, I want to say. Or 8, excuse me, Block 8, when you work on the 117 Golf. So note that the Citadel keys, the CC mode, must be loaded via remote control or manually from the KDU. That's the guy right here. This is the KDU, in case y'all didn't know that. Or it's also known as the MMI, the man-machine interface. Next we have the antenna connector, J7. It provides a 50 ohm antenna port for either a bayonet nail concealment, BNC, or a whip antenna. Did you show them the whip antenna, Sergeant Gaston?
The whip antenna, the 9-foot big boy that you don't put on when you are indoors.
That is it.
I did not.
I was really kind of expecting you to say yes after that, but okay.
Oh no, I totally did.
You
saw that.
built me up and then crushed me.
It's what I'm.
Okay.
Take a look at the antenna.
Good thing we have old Google here so I can show you guys. Shibuya. Boom, there's the whip antenna. I just posted that in Discord chat for y'all. Number 6 is what we go to
He
next.
did show us.
He did. What a troll. What a troll. All right. Moving on. Number 6 is the ground post. It provides a grounding reference for the AMPRC 150 Charlie and has a ground state kit. The ground state kits are available in the classroom. We don't use those, however, but they are available for y'all to look at. Perhaps you can ask Sergeant Gaston or somebody tomorrow so you can actually see them. Next, we have the J6 accessory port. That's number 7 here. It provides a connection for power amplifiers, control signals, external keyline, external power, AMPRC 150 Charlie on-off frequency, frequency hopping clock, a remote control data. A blue dot identifies the cable and connector. What color dot identified the audio connector that you all had today? Was it orange? Was it yellow? Blue? Red? Bueller?
I don't remember.
Sergeant Gaston?
It's gonna be. Were you doing the handset connector?
Yep.
Reddish orange.
It should be a reddish orange, yes. Just the same as the data, it's like a reddish orange color. Very good. Outstanding. Next we have, we did this. So once we're done with that, we have the on-off switch or function switch, which is capable of doing a few things. It's got your PT mode, which is what you guys are in today. That's the plain text mode. That's what we call unencrypted or clear transmissions when we're in that mode. What does that mean, do you guys think, when I say unencrypted or clear transmission? Let's see if anybody's typing. It is a red dot. Thank you, Murata, because I believe orange is actually used for data. I want to say orange is data. But it will be on a slide in a couple minutes here, and then we'll all find out together. Man, everyone's so quiet this afternoon. What did you do to them, Sergeant Gaston?
Bored them to death. I can. I just suck the power and the fun out of them.
Man, you're like a Dementor. What was the worst thing about prison, Mike?
Well, I know you haven't seen
It was
me
the
in person,
Dementors.
I am a ginger, so it is.
Oh
You
boy.
haven't met me in person yet, so.
I have not. You're just this anomaly.
I suck all the fun out of everything.
Oh, I didn't know that. I actually was assuming that this is what you look like.
Posting a picture for us?
Oh yes, absolutely. 100%.
If it helps you any, kid from the last block said I look like the ginger from Band of Brothers.
Oh,
If you're familiar with that show.
I'm familiar with that show, but I thought this is what you looked like. If it ends up loading in here, we'll see.
Say that's a GameCube logo.
Yeah, I don't know what that's doing. We'll keep pressing until we wait for that photo to load. Maybe I need a better one.
It's a picture of Gaston.
It is 100% a picture of Gaston.
Ooh, I'll take it.
Yeah.
12
I
eggs a day.
assumed that that's what he looked like. He does eat 12 eggs a day.
Raw. I'm not talking
Yeah,
hard.
raw. That's true. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. So unencrypted or clear mode means you are transmitting with no encryption on the line. That's basically what unencrypted or clear is, in case you guys didn't know that. You will hear the term clear a lot in your career field. All that means is you don't have encryption on the line. So be careful what you say. Next we have CC, that's Citadel Cover. That's our encryption type that we share with NATO and allies. It is not authorized for Type 1 ciphertext for our forces, our US DoD forces. Ciphertext mode is authorized for Type 1 encryption for DoD forces and is loaded from the fill port by using this LD down here. I don't know if you guys can see what I highlighted. But if you select this LD mode, which you must select in order to load the radio with encryption, RV is called receive variable mode. That's what's used for OTAR, which is known as over-the-air rekeying. An interesting thing about over-the-air rekeying is your radio has to be loaded with a key first in order to rekey it. Kind of makes sense when you think about the terminology there. Y'all should be familiar with this Z button down here. That's the zero eye switch. What does that do?
It takes all of your presets off.
Sure does. Takes away all your presets. It'll also wipe any encryption that you may have had loaded. It's like playing a game of StarCraft back in the day and telling the opponent to push Alt F4 and then just watching your screen flash and say you won. It's kind of like that. I know I went a little old school with my reference there, so not many of you probably got that one. Also, don't push Alt F4 right now, especially if this is the only program you have open, because it doesn't even prompt you with a yes or no. It'll just close out whatever program you're in.
I figured someone was gonna do it.
I was literally waiting.
Were you trolling
Not today.
today? Right.
Yep, not today, Satan. Alright, so next we're going to go through our keys. 0 through 9 are our keys that we have, our number keys. We also have these left and right keys right here. You guys can see those. So 0 through 9 is what's used for programming the actual numbers into the radio, the 1.6 to 59.999 megahertz, which is the frequency range for the radio, which coincidentally is the frequency range for the whip antenna that he apparently did not show you, the OE503. That's one of the reasons they include that type of antenna with the radio. When you guys look at these preset keys, you may notice there's some numbers and letters on them. They are alphanumeric, but there's also some functions on them. With the function keys, you can select different functions of the radio with those. So the mode option, for instance, here will let you switch between ALE and 3G and 3G plus and fixed mode. But if you have the CPA, which we're going to talk about next, or the RPA, which is the communications planning application, that's CPA. RPA is the radio programming application. And I'm actually going to show you guys that because I have that program on my desktop. So we provide a connection for a data device, RS-232 point-to-point. This is a protocol, point-to-point protocol. That's literally what PPP means. It's an auxiliary audio. An orange dot identifies the cable and radio connector. So there we go, an orange dot. Before we move on, though, I'm going to close this stream and open my other stream.
While he's doing that, can anyone tell me where he's getting all of this information aside from PowerPoint?
What a great question.
Do you think you need to memorize all the information he just talked
100%. Just kidding. You don't need to do that. Y'all should trust what Sergeant Gaston's saying. He definitely took the test today.
Yes. Okay, so it's in the Prick 150 commercial manual. Is that the only place? Crickets. So the answer to that is no, it isn't also in your intermediate manual.
Sergeant Gaston, if I find the answer in one of the books, do I need to keep looking through and find it in another book too to match up the answers?
Sergeant McCusker, that is an excellent question. No, if you find it in one, it's the same in the other.
Wow.
Anyone tell me where this is located within these manuals? Because this is, we talked dead horses Friday, this is a dead horse.
It is
Might find it
definitely a
very
dead
helpful.
horse. So I'm just getting the setup for them.
Someone go find me those, where you can find all this information.
Alright, my stream's up too. They want to take a look? So the program I'm going to show you guys, this is called CPA. This is what they're currently using in the field to program the radios. No, I am not going to tell you how I got a copy of this on my desktop before anybody asks. Table 1-1? So, no, it's not Table 1-1. That's an oof, Airman
Table
Rada.
1-1 is very important. Do you remember what Table 1-1 is?
You're like a pro already, Sergeant Gaston. Look at you.
Well, there's a couple things in life that I can really get behind, and that's rough.
I'm all about TO references. QA kind of ruins you forever.
It truly does. Never gonna be the
Because
same.
it's to the point where when I see somebody don't use a TO, then I'm like, oh, let me just get my piece of paper out for failure notification and send it to the commander. And then I'm like, oh, wait, I don't do that anymore.
That's right, A1C Rada. The Table 1-1 will give you specifications of all your frequency ranges, that F, FM, tell you about your voltage on the hub, how far you can immerse the radio in water, all of that. But for these controls, indicators, and connectors that we're going over today, where can we find that? In the commercial manual or in the intermediate?
Would that be table 3-3, 3-4?
Yeah.
Table 3-3, absolutely. Which one is that in, sir?
The commercial manual?
It is in the commercial manual in table 3-3 on page 3-4. And that will tell you everything that he just went through in a very clear manner. That might help you on your appraisal. It could help you in other places in life. And that table is also in the intermediate on 2-1, page 2-2.
Okay, can everybody see the program I have open?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see what you guys have on your stream. Perfect. All right. So you can't see. So this is a window, the managed channel window within the program I have right now, within the Harris CPA program. When you guys look at this, did anybody notice how quickly I was able to just type all those frequencies in? I don't know if you guys saw me doing that, but it's pretty much instantaneously, right? I just take a frequency, plug it in, put it in there, tell what modulation type I want, AGC speed. I can even select scan if I want. I can and select all of my single sideband scan channels. Now somebody tell me why I didn't select this channel on the bottom here for single sideband scan. What's special about this modulation type down here for...
It's in FM instead of upper or lower sideband.
Correct. It's not going to scan that channel even if I did throw it in there. Now when you come down here, you'll notice that I can just name this. Let's just say like something like you guys are doing today. Something like that. And then let's see. See if I got this. See how good the old memory bank is.
Oak Grove.
There we go. Oak Grove. Let's see.
Headquarters.
I got headquarters already.
Oh, you're just going with it.
Just rolling with it.
You got Asylum.
And then I'll put in my call sign in here.
Mac and cheese.
Yep. So that's the call sign I use for myself there. And for exercises, this is the call sign we used. Does anybody know what that means?
No, sir.
No, what does it mean?
Don't know what a dart is? I will tell you all at the end of class. So a couple things I want to note for you guys here while we got this program open that are kind of cool to look at. Notice, like you said, the USB, LSB, USB thing I did here. What does it show you right here? Am I on the right side of my center frequency? Now I know this says center of
Upper
intelligence,
sideband.
but this is upper sideband. Very good. Note that it shows you my range I'm taking up in here, 2.0003 to 2.0033. Now here's something unique that I wanted to show you guys. Do you think this upper sideband, lower sideband are ever going to talk to each other even though they have the exact same frequency programmed?
No.
Now when you look at the numbers, no is the right answer, absolutely. When you look at the numbers, that makes sense, doesn't it? This is only ever going to be on this 2.0003 to 2.0033. This is only going to be on the 1.997 to the 1.9967 range. They will never talk to each other, and that is why. With this program, it's a lot easier to show you guys that than if I were to try and explain this in class, actually. But everybody sees this? Now, look what happens when you go to FM. Everybody see that?
That's a little broken.
Yeah, it's a little different because FM modulates differently. You modulate the frequency in FM. That's why it looks different. Much like what you're going to see tomorrow, this is very similar to what you guys are going to see tomorrow when you do the spectrum analyzer look and listen function. That's all I really wanted to show you guys in here. These things down here, they're called channel groups. That's what these are. That's what you were making today, essentially, channel groups. They call them system presets, though, inside of the radio. Close this program out. West Beach, Asylum, thank you. Very good. I like the Control F, whoever that was. Emirata. Very participative today, Emirata. I like it. I'm all about that. Gold stars. Gold stars for the whole class. Even Sar Rosales, who hasn't said much.
I keep forgetting that I have to push to talk.
Are you yelling at your screen? Because I've done that.
Yeah, sometimes.
It's pretty funny. I've done that. Moving on. So we talked about that J3, that data, that other form of intelligence that we have for the radio. Let's talk about this J9. This J9 does all of the same functions, if you notice, that the J6 did. However, the J9 accessory connector is for engineering and development purposes only. It is not intended for the use in customer applications. I brought this up earlier, and it was pretty funny because one of your classmates actually did this. So, pretty relevant example is updating a Nintendo DS's firmware on its own after you have hacked it, for example. If you hacked it, it means you're trying to stay at whatever that current firmware is so you can get whatever games you want on there for free, basically. Now, Nintendo is smart and did this thing where if you update their firmware and if something in the code figures out that you did that, it gives you this basically bright orange screen forever. And anytime you turn your DS on, that's all you're going to see. That means you just bricked your system. Now, what's the difference between bricking something that costs $199 or $100, whatever they cost now, and something that costs $19,997?
My guess is that you can never use it again.
Correct. And if you answered your career, that might be the right answer. Remember that when you guys are working on these radios, do not touch this J9. You can do firmware updates from it, but you should not do firmware updates from it. You will brick the radio. That is a very expensive mistake. J10, J11 here, that's our battery connectors. You all got to use that today. They are lithium ion. There are many different types, as you can see. Next we go to the HF radio program application, which, as you all just saw, was actually called CPA now. That's the program they use. They don't really use this RPA anymore. However, I say that, and the TDY I went on to Arizona with Sergeant Jones, the Army guys we were working with actually did have RPA still. So there are instances where it's going to be used. It's just not going to be used all the time. The newer 160s will only use the CPA program. Now that doesn't mean you can't use the RPA, but you only want to use the new stuff with them. So we'll talk about this RPA. That's what I just showed you guys. That was that program application where it's very similar to that program application I just showed you. It has the ability to program many radios in very, very rapidly in minutes. Like I just showed you guys, I can plug in as much frequencies or anything I want in there, and I can take care of that probably about 30 frequencies within maybe about 10 minutes total for about 5-6 radios, as opposed to probably how long it took you all to program today. Next, we'll talk about the hub, the hold-up battery. The hold-up battery applies a constant voltage to the radio memory circuits, such as communications plan and the encryption key circuits. This allows these memory circuits to retain data while the radio is off. Note that when you are putting the radio away for long periods of time, you do not want to keep this battery in there, or any battery really, connected. Why do you guys think that is?
The battery will die?
The battery will die. What happens with batteries if you leave them in a device for a long period of time?
They can corrode.
They can corrode. They can get battery acid in them, and that battery acid can ruin the terminals inside of the device, and then you can never use that device again. Now, one of the things they're pointing out with this little note down here, what they're talking about, and I don't know if we necessarily have the capability to do this in the classroom, but our maintenance team does. When they go to swap the hub battery, they will leave this power connected to it. No, it's not going to shock you or anything like that. You don't have to worry about that because you'll have it grounded, first of all, so you won't have to worry about that. Second of all, you're going to do it on maintenance bench, and that should be grounded. Now, when you have this connected, the reason you have it connected is because if you don't have it connected, and let's say you're opening the package for the hub battery while this thing's sitting out on the table, how long do you guys think you have before the radio completely discharges all of that power? from the
I think
battery
it's
you just removed.
instantaneously.
It's not instantaneously. It's about 30 seconds. You guys will have about 30 seconds to do so. Now, this is everything we covered so far. And this is all I had to go over with y'all today was one Bravo. So we talked about the controls and indicators, connectors, the function switch, the RPA, we talked about the hub, and we talked about the KDU.